Sara Sharif's story is one of unimaginable betrayal. A young girl whose cries for help were smothered by secrecy, cruelty, and a broken system. Found dead in her Surrey home, Sara's life ended at the hands of her father and stepmother, who fled halfway across the world in a desperate attempt to escape justice. This haunting case unraveled a dark web of abuse and systemic failure, leaving a community shaken and a nation demanding answers.
I killed my daughter. I killed my daughter. I'm a cruel father.
10-year-old Sara Sharif was described by those who knew her as a bright and curious child, full of life and eager to learn. She lived in Woking, a quiet suburb in Surrey, where life should have been predictable and safe. But behind the walls of her home, Sara's life was anything but peaceful. Sara's troubles began years earlier when her parents, Olga and Urfan Sharif, divorced. The separation was acrimonious, with Sara's mother losing custody of her children in 2019. The court awarded full custody to Urfan Sharif, despite Olga's concerns about his parenting. Sara and her siblings were moved into Urfan's household, where they lived with their stepmother, Beinash Batool. This change marked the beginning of a life shadowed by fear and isolation. Neighbors recalled how Sara, once a cheerful and outgoing child, became withdrawn after moving in with her father. Teachers and school staff noticed signs of neglect, but their concerns went unheeded.
She was very bubbly, she was very kind, she was never shy. She always used to be in like a pretend fashion show, and it was just really nice to watch. She told me she fell off her bike, but I just knew that's not something that you would fall off your bike.
Please subscribe to our channel and make comments about what you think of our videos. In 2021, Urfan Sharif pulled Sara out of school, citing a desire to homeschool her. This move cut Sara off from the outside world, ensuring no one could witness the torment she endured daily.
Couldn't we have noticed something, how they were with Sara? Sara had been bullied for wearing a hijab, and they'd removed her from the school. I thought that that was very alienating for the child. And Beinash said, well, she's making friends in the mosque.
The truth about Sara's life behind closed doors is chilling. Court records and testimonies revealed a pattern of relentless abuse. Sara was beaten, burned, and bruised repeatedly. Her small body bore the scars of unspeakable violence. Injuries as severe as broken bones and bite marks painted a horrifying picture of the life she endured. Sara's stepmother, Beinash Batool, was often at the center of this cruelty. Witnesses recounted seeing Batool berate Sara in public, but it was the hidden abuse that left the deepest scars. Meanwhile, Sara's father, Urfan, turned a blind eye, or worse, participated in the violence. For Sara, there was no escape. Sara's grandfather later recounted a heartbreaking phone call from his granddaughter just weeks before her death. She told him how excited she was about a planned trip to Pakistan, where she hoped to reconnect with her extended family. Little did she know, that trip would become part of a sinister plan to cover up her death. On August 9, 2023, emergency services in Surrey received a chilling call from Urfan Sharif.
Take a deep breath and tell me what's happened.
I cannot. I physically punished my daughter and she died.
Your daughter has died?
I killed my daughter. I killed my daughter.
How have you killed your daughter?
I beat her up. It wasn't my intention to kill her, but I beat her up too much.
He reported that his daughter was dead, but his words were not those of a grieving father. They were a cold admission of guilt. Within hours of making the call, Urfan, Batool, and Urfan's brother, Faisal Malik, boarded a flight to Pakistan, leaving Sara's lifeless body behind. When authorities arrived at the Sharif home, they found Sara's body under a blanket in a bunk bed. The injuries she sustained were so severe that paramedics were visibly shaken. A post-mortem examination revealed multiple injuries, including evidence of prolonged abuse, though the exact cause of death could not be determined.
Young life was brought to an end as a result of the brutal abuse and unspeakable violence inflicted on her by Sharif Batool, which Malik did nothing to prevent.
Please subscribe to our channel and make comments about what you think of our videos. As news of Sara's death spread, an international manhunt was launched. Urfan, Batool, and Malik had fled to Jhelum, a city in Pakistan, where they attempted to evade capture by hiding among relatives. Interpol issued alerts, and UK and Pakistani authorities worked together to track them down. For weeks, the trio remained elusive, but the pressure was mounting. Meanwhile, Sara's mother, Sara Sharif, spoke publicly about her heartbreak and the systemic failures that allowed her daughter to be taken away.
Brali piżamkę w myszkamiki, miała kołodrę dziecięcą przykrytą, ale żadna matka nie powinna oglądać takiego czegoś. Miała policzek napuchniętych, z drugiej strony miała siniaki. Do tej pory, jak zamykam oczy, to widzę, jak moje dziecko wyglądało.
To nie była Sara. Całkiem zmieniona, posiniaczona. Gdyby mi ktoś nie powiedział, że to jest Sara, to bym w życiu nie uwierzyła.
Her emotional pleas added urgency to the search for justice. In September 2023, after weeks of pursuit, Pakistani authorities located the fugitives. Urfan, Batool, and Malik were arrested and extradited to the UK, where they faced charges for Sara's murder.
You are therefore arrested for murder of Sara Sharif.
The trial, held at London's Central Criminal Court in late 2024, was harrowing. Prosecutors presented overwhelming evidence of Sara's abuse, including witness testimonies, medical reports, and chilling details of the family's attempts to cover up their crimes. The jury learned about the months of torture Sara endured and the calculated decision to flee after her death. Urfan Sharif and Beinash Batool were convicted of murder, their actions described as monstrous by the judge. Faisal Malik, while acquitted of murder, was found guilty of causing or allowing Sara's death. The courtroom erupted in a mix of relief and sorrow as the verdicts were read. Justice had been served, but it could never bring Sara back. Sara Sharif's death sparked widespread outrage and a national reckoning. How could a child so clearly in danger fall through the cracks of the child protection system? Surrey's Children's Services had been flagged for inadequacies in multiple reports, but no meaningful action was taken. The tragedy prompted calls for sweeping reforms to ensure no other child suffers the same fate. Prime Minister Keir Starmer called Sara's death the most awful case he had encountered, vowing to hold those responsible for systemic failures accountable.
It's just the most awful case. It's very hard to see and to read about for many people who will be viewing this. Just shocking. So that's where I start on this. Obviously, there's going to be questions that need to be answered in relation to this case. I don't think that we should allow ourselves to think that whatever the rules on smacking are, that that's got anything to do with this case. This is about violence, it's about abuse, it's about making sure there's protection and safeguards for children.
Public inquiries are ongoing, but for Sara's family and supporters, the answers come too late. Please subscribe to our channel and make comments about what you think of our videos.